So if you've been with me from the beginning, thank you very much. This is the final part. We're going to expose, so that mesh that we coated in the last tutorial I posted, we're going to expose it, and we're also going to print. So it might be a slightly lengthy video, just stay with me. So let's get into it. So to expose our artwork, you can either use kerosene or vegetable oil. Personally, I actually prefer kerosene. I think it's just a personal preference. So I just feel like it makes the artwork more transparent. It's not like vegetable oil would not do the job. Of course it would. I'm just saying. But unfortunately for me, I did not have kerosene at all. And this is the only amount of oil that I had at home. I could have waited to buy kerosene, but I didn't want to procrastinate because I've procrastinated for a few days now. And I just wanted this tutorial to be done and over with. So the paper was much bigger than the amount of oil I had. So I just cut out the section that had my design on it and I applied the oil generously. One important thing is try to remove as many air bubbles as possible. Those tontolo whitish parts, especially around the black areas. Those areas are very important for getting a sharp exposure. So get rid of as many bubbles. If you can get rid of everything, get rid of it. You know, it would take time, but just be very patient with it. Now let's take it out to expose. You have to be very careful with this part. You must not overexpose it. So if the sun is very hot, a few seconds is enough. If it is cloudy, the day I was filming this, it was very cloudy, so I left it out for about 4 to 5 minutes. So you just have to like pay attention to how intense the sun is. So after that, I then started rinsing it off with water. So you will notice that the design is gradually apparent. The reason why that happens, let me just explain in simple terms. The black part of your artwork blocked the sunlight from reaching the emulsion on those areas. So the emulsion underneath those black areas, they stay soft. So that's exactly what allows the water to wash those areas away and to reveal your design. So you have to take your time with this step. A clean exposure gives you a very sharp print. So once everything is washed out, allow the screen to dry completely before printing. So now let's go and print. So I used sellotape to block off some areas that I felt like, the design had MBT and then like a rectangular box. So I used sellotape to just mask those areas. Another thing is, because I'm going to be pouring ink directly on the screen, the sellotape is very good for you to put on the area where you're going to be pouring ink, so that by the time you pour your ink, in case you did not expose properly or there is one brouhaha that happened, at least it's not going to soil what you have underneath. Okay, I am using a scrap fabric from one of my sewing projects and I'm using a green textile ink. I poured a lot, so I reduced it. Then I started printing. So the first print I made came out slightly faded because I did not apply enough pressure with my squeegee, and that was very intentional because I wanted you guys to see. So your squeegee, the pressure and the angle at which you even apply it really determines how your screen would come out as well. So that's something you should pay attention to. Because I've been doing it for a long time now, I don't really exactly have to like first do a test run on paper, but you can do a test run on paper to be sure that your artwork came out really well and there is no maybe leakage or anything before you now put it on your main fabric, so that you not go and check the sale. At some point, my girl Onyade, she wanted to try it and I allowed her, since this is just a tutorial, it's nothing really serious. So she gave it a go. Her hand placement and the amount of pressure she was applying wasn't very correct, but we worked on that and she did a few extra and she did quite well. The next part is very important. Now, textile ink does not air dry, which is the reason why I touched it so that you can see it on my finger. All right, so you can't print today and expect the wind to dry it. It needs heat to cure properly. Now, remember, this tutorial is specifically because of HSM students, because when I was in school, 300 level, and we did the screen printing course in uni, I ran into a few problems. So the tutorial is specifically for textile, for maybe nylon print and all those ones. You would have to see me personally for like more specific and tailored tutorial. So as I was saying, it needs heat to cure properly. So if you have a heat gun, you can use it. If you don't, just use a pressing iron. So instead of placing the pressing iron directly on the print, I covered it with a Teflon sheet before ironing. The heat bonds the ink permanently to the fabric. Another important thing that you need to note is that the print you're seeing in this tutorial is not registered. Registration simply means aligning your design properly, and especially if when you're printing multiple colors, all right? So for this tutorial, I did not register anything. I'm just printing randomly because the goal is to demonstrate the process, not to create a finished design for you guys. All right. So now that you've officially learned the complete beginner screen printing process with me, I hope this would eventually help somebody. A lot of people on the other videos I've made, the 1, 2, and the third part, they were really appreciative of the fact that I made this tutorial. So it really brings so much joy to my heart to know that, yay, a lot of people are, like, they found what I posted helpful. It's very encouraging. Thank you very much. And to any potential HSM student or clothing and textile student, because it's now a full department, any clothing and textile student that eventually comes across my video, I wish you good luck in your academic journey. So you will definitely learn more than this in school, but at least for the foundation, so you won't be clueless. I think this is a great start for you. So somebody on TikTok actually reached out to me for like further training. Now, I only used to accept physical classes, and physical classes, I don't do it often because I don't really have so much time. I also run a tailoring service as well, so my hands are quite full. So the person is not even in Abeokuta at all. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to do an online training specifically for this person. So I just decided, you know what? Since I'm doing an online training and videos can be rewatched as many times as possible, I am going to extend the online screen printing class. So it's going to be an intensive training. It's going to run for like a month or two. And I'm going to be teaching everything I know, from the beginner basics, definition, multicolor screen printing, printing on fabrics, printing on nylon. I'm going to show you in real time common mistakes and so much more. So if you're going to be interested in that class, basically, it's not a cheap class and it's not free, because I'm not going to hold back on any of the knowledge I have. You're going to be getting everything I know from 4 years of uni, and then the further training I decided to do on screen printing as well. So send me a DM and I'll be happy to share like the full curriculum with you. And if you'd like to join the training as well, send me a DM. Thank you for watching. Bye.